Good evening. So we'll be discussing with respect to the preparation strategy for this 2025 mains of forest service examinations. We will have a discussion part which will be focused on touching general studies, general knowledge, and then general English, forestry optional paper, and the second optional preparation strategy, right? So, and then we'll go on and we'll also discuss about what Vajiram and Ravi will offer and how our forestry classes will go on, what the test batch structures will do, and how we will be able to support for general knowledge and also the English. That will be the entire structure of our discussion for the day, right? So within IFS 2025 mains, I hope most of you out of the people who are in the online and offline, you will be writing for the first time, right? The one who have written already, if you have been there, fine, we'll discuss with respect to it, right? With respect to it, you do know. So I will go with respect to very basic and then we'll step out within a minute, right? Optional 1 and optional 2. We do have paper 1 and paper 2. We do have paper 1 and paper 2. General knowledge and general English will be for 300 marks, where each optional paper will be for 200 marks, which is very basic, right? This will be the exam structure. And this is the first year after this change in the pattern of the examination, where after civil service mains examination, you do have like 80 days of a time period. Before to that, there is always a 50-day time period has been available, and people find it very short period of time, very crunchy and very stressful with respect to it. This time we do have 80 days has been available. One, there is two approach people used to take in the recent years. One is write only Indian Forest Service examination by skipping the civil service mains examination, even though they cleared it, right? That is being done by people because there are only 50 days. But now we do have 80 plus days. So I don't think this approach has to be required by anyone to skip a civil service mains examination and write Indian Forest Service examination. But so you can go on with respect to civil service. After that, you can write Indian Forest Service. So you do have to. If by any chance you are writing only Indian Forest Service by skipping the CSE, you can do it. Or if you have applied only for Indian Forest Service examination and not CSE, that is also another thing. So we do have two approaches to take with respect to it. If you want, we can discuss in person before you wanted to decide also to put across. But I believe you would have decided by now to do with respect to it, right? This is another thing, yes. And before I step into each and every subject discussion point, there are things which I wanted to discuss. This I always discuss with every single individuals. There is something called physical requirement for the examination, because being it is a technical service. So if you by any chance do not fulfill the physical requirement, at least you will not put your effort, time and waste it with respect to it, right? So I feel it is obligation of my side to tell it with respect to it. One, if someone is having a color blindness, they are not eligible for the examinations, even though selected by the UPSC, MOEF, and DOPT at times of service allocations or like service approval, it will not be given. So this is mentioned in the rule books. There are other two, which is knocked knee and flat foot. Though not explicitly mentioned, certain times people used to look into this and then check based upon that particular part. But this is something which has been mentioned with respect to it. If someone has color blindness, they are not technically fit to be in the service. Knocked down knee and flat foot, not explicitly mentioned, but sometimes people see it. Sometimes, not always with respect to it. This is one. Apart from this, there is also a height requirement, which was earlier much. Now it has been reduced. For a male, it is 150 centimeter. For female, if I'm not wrong, 140 centimeter. So most probably people will be able to fulfill the requirement. Apart from that, educational qualification has been there. Unlike civil services, here educational qualification has been there. Though there are positions like only one subject in mathematics, one subject with respect to physics, chemistry, botany, zoology, statistics has been mentioned. At times, it comes into conflict. Some of the students I do know who got into service have been not allocated the service, though science graduate with respect to it. So this is again one another thing to look into considerations, right? And one common query that comes is, I did engineering, whether I am eligible. Engineering is a science graduation. Engineering is eligible by its own merit, right? So this is something which I wanted to put across, because there was once a student of mine who got into the forest service, got service, but when the medical only we got to know the person has color blindness. The person himself does not know he is colorblind. So he was also aware of that only at that point of time in the medical examinations. Since then, for the last 10 years, I always tell people before their preparation towards the forest service, right? We start with respect to general knowledge. Here it is general knowledge, not general studies, right? Two things. If you are writing CSE and then writing IFS, right, you prepare by and large in detail for CSE, which is more sufficient to prepare for the Indian Forest Service examination, right? But what is new apart from the CSE with respect to it is, you will be have to study about history, administration, and then you will have to study about basic science. This science include factors of biotechnology, agri, technology, especially in terms of GM and associated factors. Then with respect to environment, climate change part. Though the environment and climate change part you study it, science basic has to be studied. These you don't study. For the history, administration and all those things, Vajiram Ravi has prepared a material to support the students. I will be sharing that material also. But science part, you will have to look into this. This is with respect to it. Sir, I'm taking in the other route. I'm preparing only for Indian Forest Service examination, which if you are going on this particular route, only Indian Forest Service examinations, do know that there are other people who appear for civil service mains, write all the tests, prepare the current affairs, prepare in detail, more importantly, writing practice of all the tests and the writing practice of UPSC civil service examination, and then come to Indian Forest Service. So you are competing with them with respect to it. If you are preparing only for Indian Forest Service examinations, you have to give due respect to this particular part, right, for the general knowledge, because you are competing with someone who is doing it for all these months. So for these syllabus topics, you will have to go on and do it by and large. The syllabus topics are very simple, unlike the civil service examination, which will include history, geography, economics, polity, science, and science and technology. Very basics with respect to it. Questions are also not hard. Only thing that will be hard is you will have to write for 300 marks, not 250 marks. So you will have to put much more speed in the writing test, right? If you are preparing only for Indian Forest Service examinations, I would say that you focus on general knowledge also. But if you are preparing for civil service and writing for Indian Forest Service examinations, after writing Indian Forest Service civil services with respect to it, only this part has to be done. This with respect to India history, administration, and basic science, Vajiram, the material that is prepared will support, but you will also have to prepare for some more on this particular base science part, right? But if you have been doing, allocate your day with respect to it. Second, with respect to general English, though many people would have written essay on the civil service examination, those essay is a general essay. Here, within the general English paper, you will write an essay. This essay is going to be for 6 pages for 100 marks, not more than that, right? So here it is an English essay. So your basic knowledge on English, you should not make blunder mistakes in English. That's what it has been required. You don't have to be a Shakespeare, right? One. Second thing, you do require reading comprehension. More importantly, if reading comprehension may come, letter writing, report writing. One of the area where people lose mark is, right, when asked for report writing, people write letter without using any of the rules that has been provided with respect to it. They write letter in their own wish. Marks gets reduced with respect to it. You do have Prezi, where again rules are available. You do have grammar, right? This is the part to be followed with respect to it. So essay, you can take, and essays are not philosophical essays like civil service examination, very basic essays. One social essay will be there, one women essay will be there, one environment based essay will be there. Gather points, prepare on the topics. All I will do is like 5 to 6 years of PYQ, take it, understand the topics of essays that comes with respect to it. There's similar topics, keep preparing it, ready-made notes, go on the day, reproduce and come. Or have basic information to write by your own wish, right? Letter writing, Prezi and grammar, these are rules. This carry a good amount of mark, close to 100. This carry, 150 marks will come from here, 50 marks will come from here, right? So totally 300. This either grammar is very short time period, though it is 300 marks, grammar can be completed fatafat. So you don't take much of the time. Prezi writing, only 2 sides of the page, 1 page will be given, not more than that also. So it can be completed. So English writing time will not be a problem at all. Only general knowledge writing time might be a problem for some, right? Understand that, keep that in mind. This you will have to prepare. 2 approaches again, either one, every day spend 1 hour. If you are preparing only after civil service examination, spend every day 1 hour with respect to it. Or if you are exclusively preparing, you can do it. Or closer towards examination. In the month of October, you can spend 2 to 3 hours. That is purely based upon your position in the language skills. If you are extremely good, you can reduce the number of time. If you wanted to work on more, you can put it across. Why I'm stressing on these parts? This close to 300 marks one can gain in these two. Close to 300 marks. Last year, the toppers mark varied between 280 to 300 in GK and English together. The year before, English has been awarded 150 and 160, GK was awarded 120 and 130. Last year, it was ulta. English was awarded 130, 140, GK was awarded 150 and plus. So easily 300 marks. So this is one area you can score marks. And if you don't do it, it will drop drastically. This is a good mark, but toppers has been there, something around 300. There are people who went on to the interview but did not get into the service because they had something around 100 in each paper, which means 100 marks has been gone with respect to it. Though they fared well in the optionals, because of English and GK, some of the students have been not able to enter into it. This is one area. But 95% of the people did not have this problem. They worked with respect to it because of the civil services knowledge, right? So no need to worry about this part. And then we do an optional. Let's assume forestry is one optional, another optional, let me keep it as optional number 2, right? So if it is forestry, let's say every optional is going to be a science optional, 1. If you are a graduate and post-graduation, if you have started preparing for civil services and you have written optionals like sociology or anthropology, political science, public administration, geography, any of the art optional, you are going to write it completely different in this place. The one example which I always say is any rule, any law given by any science in your school days cannot be rewritten in your own language. Law of thermodynamics is law of thermodynamics. Newton's third law is Newton's third law. Though I love that Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reactions. You cannot write it in your own language. Unlike what you write in your political science, public administration, sociology, anthro, geography, or any optionals, right? Literature. Here, science has to be reproduced. So science as an answer format. You prepare a definition, you prepare the body of an answer based upon the questions. That body can be mechanism, the body can be structure of something, the body can be process, the body can, based upon the questions. Sometimes mechanism can be asked, sometimes process can be asked, sometimes structure can be asked, sometimes procedure can be asked, right? This will be put across. You will have examples, you will have case studies, you will have applications. The beauty of science is application. Without applications, there is nothing called science. There is no science without an application. So you write applications, you go on to next questions. One of the common challenge I see with respect to people is like people always ask, what is the conclusion I have to write? You don't have to write conclusions. Your application has been done, finished, or move across. People ask about introduction, your definition is your introductions. Right? How to write science, I have read this in the book. The book has only 2 lines for definitions. It does not have a 10 mark or a 12.5 marks. That's another major challenge with respect to it. The simplest way of explanation is your school days chemistry titration. If you have done this chemistry titration, one huge burette will be there, one flask will be there, you add a solution, you mix the solution, color changes, that's all, right? It can be written in 2 lines. But how did you write in your school days chemistry? Aim of the particular experiment. Apparatus used. Objective of the particular experiment. What is the apparatus? You add the pipette. If you can recollect your memory, you will be able to say that you will stand, the liquid has to be in the eyesight of it, parallel error should not be there, and if it is not being there, hold the burette's knob in the left hand, right hand the flask, slowly open it, stir it. You wrote one particular thing. Procedure, step by step, right? And after that, conclusion, you went across. This can be written in 2 lines. This can also be written in 2 pages. I am not asking you to write. That will not be given the marks. You write pure science terminologies and science words to bring this particular 2 pages. Along with that, you give diagrams, right? So the answer format is going to be this, plus diagram. And most of the time periods, you will not have diagrams in any of your science books that you take with respect to it. Diagrams has to be produced. Once you understand the science to core clearly, you can make your own diagrams. And that interests the persons with respect to it. Also, do know, if you go back and look into any of the videos that is available in YouTube, 7 years back, 8 years back, 10 years back with respect to it, there are people who told that general knowledge and general English I prepared. I wrote something in for the optional subjects I got. Those are days where 80 plus post has been called for, 1,000 people have been called for the mains, 300 people will go for the mains, 250 people will be called for interview. So that happened. Today, that is not the case. 200 and 160 people have been called for the mains. Easily 1,500 people will go for the mains examination. This year, I expect even more higher because it's not 50 days gap, it is 80-day gap. So it is going to be slightly more competitive in manner, and people prepare exclusively now. Competition is more. Those days, people have also told that I used color pens, got more marks. The shirt I wear does not make any sense. The moment the things that I discuss with you is only makes sense with respect to it. Similarly, what you write makes sense rather than that. Certain things have been required or sufficient at that particular time period. Certain things are not required or not sufficient in this particular time period. You have to look into that particular aspect. What is the time and how you evolve with respect to it. So keep an answer format towards it. And you take forestry. Forestry at times asks very simplest questions. In the last 3 to 4 years, if you look into the question paper and you look into the question paper 10 years back, there is a huge variation in the kind of questions asked. I'm not speaking about question paper, question asked. Earlier, the question sounded like core forestry. Now the question sounds like general environment question, but people who write general environment sense does not get marks. They land in 60s and 70s in an optional. Forestry, you can go up to 240. I'm speaking about a good score. I'm not speaking about an exceptional score. Last year, Avinash Reddy got with respect to 262. He was a student of last to last year batch. He got 240 last to last year. This year, he got 262 with respect to it, right? And we will be able to achieve that with respect to very simple logics and format to be followed with respect to it. This, we are speaking out of 400. 400 out of 240. We are not speaking about 500 out of 240, right? 400 out of 240 can be achieved in forestry. Provided a question like a very simplest format has been asked, you write in a very scientific manner, right? For an example, even if the question speaks like, discuss the impact of air pollution on forest regeneration or forest quality, let's say forest quality. People write about certain things. But what are the things we speak about? We speak about regeneration, we speak about the growth model, we speak about sigmoid curves, we speak about growth patterns with respect to it, we speak about how wood quality is being better, we speak about what is the rotation, how quick rotation happens with respect to it. We speak much in terms of forestry jargons and forestry terminologies. If you are able to speak the forestry jargons, forestry terms, and speak to a questions. So in the last 5 years, what UPSC has done is kept the question very simple, but the answers, if it is not core forestry, marks are not awarded. That is where the variation comes with respect to it. This is in terms of one. In terms of the other option, which we will provide geology, next week, an expert person will be discussing about and giving an orientation towards geology with respect to the part, right? So this, I will leave it to the best hands of Aravind sir. He is the mentor to me when I wrote geology for civil services and for forest services examination. A very good friend of mine for the last 14 years. And with conviction, I can say that I don't find anyone who's humble and who has that great knowledge in geology, and that who's been able to guide you well. Right? Very, very nice human being, more importantly. Right? So if you have been preparing with respect to it, we can also do one another factor, which is very in-specific schedules for each and every one, right? So just reach out. I will work with you. We'll put a in-specific schedule for each and every one based upon whether you're writing civil services and forest service or only forest service examinations. That's the case, right? But in simple, this general knowledge, as you said, based upon you're writing civil service or not, will be taken. General English is based upon your skills, your proficiency will be taken. Both optionals will be taken, right? If you are preparing for only Indian Forest Services, we can divide the optional. One optional you finish it in 2 months, another optional you can take it again for the other 2 months, because you do have 5 months of time period. If you are preparing only for if you are preparing for civil services and then the forest services, then those 80 days will be more than sufficient to be put across. What we do as part of Vajiram will be, we will be doing 2 things. One, classroom program, another test series. Test series is only for the people, veterans who have already attended the classes or written multiple mains, who want only slight tweaking with respect to it. Classroom program is for the freshers to be done with respect to it. What will be done is, like as told, every single year from 2012, we will be finishing like major portions based upon PYQ analysis and what can be expected with respect to it. Out of 200 marks, 190 max, minimal 180 marks you can attend with respect to each and every paper. With this, you can score 220 to 240. So we can finish that particular portion in 1 month. Maybe if you take a classroom program, both optional number 1 and optional number 2 can be completed in 1 month of a time period. After that, 1 month will be for your revision, test. After that, another 20 days, second revision, full length test, UPSC. This can be made possible. 90% of the people who appear for the forestry examinations all these years take into consideration after CSE and then they prepare with respect to it. 10% of the people, that too in the last few years, have started to prepare before the civil service mains examinations. That's the variations. No other than that will be there. Second question people ask is like whether forestry graduates enter into it. As per my knowledge, every year out of this year, I can say that 2,120. My college, I'm a forestry graduate. I worked in the forest service in the state of Tamil Nadu. My college was once the breeding ground of Indian Forest Service officers. This year, 3 people have been cleared. Out of the 2,160 people, 3 people cleared. There are only 12 forestry colleges in the country. So you take the numbers with respect to it. So it's not going to be more numbers, maybe 10, 20, that's all. Every year, 1 or 2 people appear on the interview part. That's all. Nothing more than that happens with respect to it. Most of the time periods, the one who write the examination is a non-forestry graduate, non-core subject graduate, right? Most of the time periods, 80 to 90% are engineers. So your ground field is level. So there is no variation to worry with respect to it. Only thing is like all 4 boxes, or in other words, all 6 papers, you will have to be very clear about it. Gradual marks. So if you are able to get 300 in GK plus general English, 222, 240 in both optional papers, which will take you to 442, 480 plus this 300, you are in service. That's all. This, provided this, you are in service. This is not purely based upon your interview part, right? Most of the time periods, and here forest service interview is for 300 marks. Most of the time period, interview marks is at a good level range, right? An interview is very technical. Interview is specific with respect to it for a longer time period. In the last few years, forestry-based questions have been slightly reduced, but at least 2 members ask out of 4 members. 2 members ask about forestry, 2 members ask about general. And no need to worry about the interview right now. Post mains examinations, we will have classes, we will have mock interview, we will have one-to-ones, and I will be there with you throughout the journey, right? So no need to worry about this part now. I will suggest these 2. And year after year, one thing that is I have been noticing for the last 12 years, since 2012, which I have been teaching, this mark determines your service. Only this mark will determine the service. So mains, you score mains, you will get the service, right? Interview is something you give it out. You don't have to worry about it. So if you get something around 740 to 780 marks, whatever the category you come across, if you can arrive this and interview fares well for it, even in an average, you are in the top 10, you are in a single digit rank, right? So this has to be more focused with respect to the part, right? And if your second optional is geology, as I told, next week there will be an orientation session. which we'll announce through all the social media networks and the website of Vajiram and Ravi when it will be done, and it will be again YouTube live. We'll be able to do it. One. Second thing, if you are another optional persons like agriculture, botany, or zoology, because I have done agriculture as my second graduation in my earlier days of civil service examination, and forestry, where botany I prepared for some time periods. Zoology, I do have some people to help you out. So if you are other optionals, I can help you out with respect to the other optionals. Forestry, I will do. Geology, as there is a better hand than me, I leave it to the better hand. That's what I do, right? Now we will open the session for the questions, right? Whatever the questions we do have, we will discuss with respect to it. Any questions? And any schedules or something like that, whatever you wanted to discuss, we'll discuss in person. karthifcra@gmail.com. Just because it is online, I'm not giving my mobile number. You drop me a mail if you want to speak. I will share your mobile number. We'll speak over it, right? Zoology optional, we don't have a zoology optional zonal, but we will be able to, I will be able to help you out with respect to it. Drop me a mail, we will speak, right? How to manage CSE and Indian Forest Service. Vivek, if you have been writing CSE, I would say that for now, you focus only on CSE examinations, write completely the Civil Service Mains examination, do not worry about Indian Forest Service. The day you finish the Civil Service Mains examination starts on 22nd and it ends 29, it will be ending, maybe sleep for 2 days. September 1st, we'll start your Indian Forest Service examinations, and from then on, within 30 days of time period, both the options can be completed. And after that, 50 days, you will have a reading practice, writing practice, and all those things will be there. If we don't want to crush it more, we maybe take it to 40 days for the preparation time period, and then we'll start with respect to another 40 days for your revision, reading, and writing practice, right? It can be managed, right? The schedule to do it with respect to it, first 30 to 40 days, we finish both the optional papers from the September to October, first week or 10th of October, we finish both the optionals. Next to 40 days, we do revision and daily writing practice that we will be doing, right? The classroom program accounts for classes. Classes will include discussions as teaching part will be there, right? Then material will be provided. This will be sufficient with respect to it. Second, third, it will also have daily answer writing practice within the class, whichever that has been done. Apart from that, you will have test batch, which will include 4 sectional tests, 2 full length test, right? And the third thing is you will also have a daily answer writing practice closer towards the examinations. So classroom program includes classes with the discussion, test teaching, material, and the daily answer writing practice, right? Test batch and the daily. And the classes will start from the fundamental as a scratch. Forestry, I will teach like there is a 10th standard kid, a 12th standard kid has been sitting in the class, and we will start in that manner and we'll go on. We will not start with respect to a superficial level or for a graduation, which is of no use with respect to it. So I will start from seeing to a 10th standard graduate or a 12th standard graduate, because most of the time period after 10th standard, most of the people have not studied botany and zoology. They have moved on to computer sciences. So we'll take 11th standard level botany, zoology, botany to go on with respect to it. This is what it will do. This is with respect to classroom program. This is same for forestry and same for geology, right? Both will go into the same approach, right? Comfortable? Test series for both forestry and test series for both geology will include, this part alone will not be there. This part alone will not be there. Apart from that, you will have test series, which will include 4 plus 2, 4 sectional tests and 2 full length tests, and then daily answer writing practice. In the last, which is in the month of November, we will have a daily answer writing practice, and then we'll go on to UPSC, right? For both classroom program and test series, last year and last to last year, what we have done for the students is we also provided 1 general knowledge paper and 1 general English paper, along with optional papers, which is forestry and geology. Like we wanted to create one replica of UPSC pattern that will be done in the month of November. So you will write one general knowledge paper, one general English paper, forestry and geology. If your options are different, then optionals will not be fulfilling, but general knowledge and general English will also come, which will be evaluated and will also be given to you, right? So this Vajiram will do as a goodwill gesture with respect to it. That will also be done, right? கொஞ்சம் மேல போங்க. மேல 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 மேல. How to manage? I think Vivek, I answered. Raghav, when it will start? So we will be starting. Last year, what we did is like forestry classes. We did 2 batches. One now itself, which means in the month of July we'll start, and then we went on completing before the September time periods. And then one we started after the civil service mains examination because the crunch was there. But this year, I believe most people will be writing after the civil service mains examinations. I do not know the numbers. If there are a good number of people who will be preparing only exclusively for Indian Forest Services, we'll start even both the batches as a classroom program. Test series will start in the month after August. We'll start with respect to it, and we will go on full-length sectional test and the full-length test, right? So test series, Raghav, you can expect it in the month of September, right? I cleared both, but no idea how to get good score. Vivek, I would say that now whatever that civil services that you have been doing and you would have completed with respect to it, you will be able to go forward with respect to it. The day of, which is it, August, September 1st, we will speak and we will be able to start with respect to the program. I will give you a clear schedule and we will do on. When will forestry optional classes start? Sabirami, I think I answered the questions. If you are starting 2 batches, first batch will start in July, but I don't think it's required with respect to it. You can complete your civil service mains examination and then start, because 80 days is more than sufficient to go on. If by any chance you are preparing only for Indian Forest Services, then drop me a message, we'll discuss, and based upon the numbers, we can start 2 batches also. Coaching faculty start from the crash to advance or not? I'm the faculty who teaches forestry with respect to it. We'll start from the scratch. As I told, I teach for 11th standard kids from that level and then go on. Does anyone has zoology as an optional? I can connect you zonal with respect to them. Will course be sufficient for IFS? As I told, 190 marks you can write out of 200 in each paper. That's the promise I have been telling from 2012. And fortunately, I was being able to fulfill the promise all the time period. And 220 to 240, if you are able to follow what I say with respect to 220 to 240, we'll be able to go on. And this year, we will be able to have more time. So we expect more marks also with respect to it. The classes begin only after civil services. It's based upon, mostly it will begin after civil services, but if there are more number of people, I will start one before and also after. Forestry, I believe so, we will be geology, again same. After the orientation and after the number of people who have been preparing, if we have a database, we'll start for forestry and geology 2 batches or else 1 batch. Forestry and geology, we'll take care, Vivek, both forestry and geology. Forestry, I will take care of the other faculty who taught me, who I trust, right? Will take care of your geology. I am preparing for 2006. Is the course valid for 2006 attempt? Yes. No differences will make with respect to 2025 to 2006 unless otherwise syllabus change happens. Never that is been in pipeline with respect to it. Vishal says, yeah, please provide the list of standard sources for forestry and geology. Ash, with respect to forestry, in my graduation, I studied something around 28 fundamental books. Apart from the multiple other books with respect to it, core books, 28 books, it's too much to put across with respect to it. So what I would suggest is the material, if you have been part of our program, I will give you the entire compiled version. And the problem with respect to 28 books or the books that I studied is with respect to it is only one thing. Forestry is a science which was developed by the research. So people go on, do a research, and they write the research protocol and research procedures in detail for 10 pages, and in the examination, we require it for half a page. So it's not something those books will suffix with respect to it, because it's a 4-year graduation. 4-year graduation cannot be completed within 80 days. So what I do is like I will give you the book, forestry book prepared by myself, which will be suffixed with respect to it. So no need to worry about any other material, right? For the 180 to 190. If at all anything is required, I will also let you know with respect to it. Geology, as I told, I wrote 1 civil service mains with geology and 1 forest service mains with geology, but I will leave it to the best and which I will. The class will have dictated notes. Class will have both. Class will have dictated notes and also the material. The book will be a mix of both. The book will try to balance two things. One, conceptual clarity, because once you have the conceptual clarity, only you will be able to write exam format. So the book will be here, will be fulfilling conceptual clarity and exam format. So whatever the notes that has been there, you can go and reproduce it again. Apart from the dictated notes will also be there, but it will be a minimal percentage. Why the minimal percentage of dictated notes? It's for one fundamental reasons, the time period is very less. If I keep dictating, I will not be able to complete the 4-year portions. One. Second thing is like our classes will not go on as a reading part of the book or with a dictation, line by line reading of the book. The book is for you to read with respect to it. The classes will go on, take a topic, discuss the topic, speak fundamentals of it. This will focus on this area, diagrams, question understanding, answer format. This is what the class will focus on, as the book will fulfill the rest, right? Forestry and geology is best for optional. It depends upon an individual. I will never say an optional for another person's. It is based upon one person's requirement. If you are a zoology, I think you were discussing about zoology for a longer time period. Going by that logic, I'm making a uninformed guess that you are a zoology graduate. If you are a zoology graduate, I would suggest you go with zoology as one of your optional. Second optional can be taken with respect to it. The second optional, which might be closer to your graduation or your interest of zoology, would be forestry, not geology. Geology is completely different from it. More people write forestry and geology. Basic reason is forestry is one area where you can complete it quite quickly. Second is geology. These are the popular options. Is there something that I should do beyond the class for forestry? If you are preparing for 2026 optional, you don't have to worry about it now. You follow the classes. Botany optional key. Okay, botany optional, I will connect you with respect to the better minds with respect to it, right? I prepared for one attempt, but I did not write with respect to it. I will help you out with respect to a botany optional, especially the one who wrote last year and got into service, a topper. I will be able to connect you with respect to the persons. Once that has been done, you will be able to interact with the persons, right? I will not, I'm very happy to say I don't know rather than guiding you wrongly. Any other questions? Fine. I'll wait for another minute. If by any chance anyone is typing. Or economically backward students ke fees. Kaushal, this request you will have to speak with the administration. Administration is the persons who will be able to do. I teach, right? So this is a request you will have to speak. Administration usually is being student friendly and will appreciate the request and do whatever the best can be done. If there is an early batch starting, I will join. Dhanush, you are preparing for 2026. You don't have to worry about an early batch or later batch. Both the batches will go on with respect to it. Will daily answer writing practice will also be there. Vivek has told there will be 2 daily answer writing practice. Every day classes will go on. If a topic, let's say silviculture, first part has been taught over the last 3 classes, maybe after the first 3 or 4 classes time period, we'll start the daily answer writing practice. Whatever that has been taught, whatever the questions that is possible with respect to it, I will give you daily answer writing practice. This is to enable you, whatever that has been taught, whatever the notes that has been available, very fundamental, straightforward questions, to make someone able to write a science answer paper. This will start with respect to it. The next, after that, the next part will be taken. Next part will be taken. This is how it will go on. This is the daily answer writing practice, which is a part of the classroom program. After the 4th class or 5th class, we'll start for the first 3 classes. 6th class, 3rd class, 4th class. So every class subjects that has been taught, after 2 classes, you will have a daily answer writing and you will have a number of questions to be put across. This is one. Why this has been done? This is to enable you to write the test batch. So you would easily write some large number of questions, let's say 50, 60, 70 number of daily answer questions in the daily answer writing practice. So you do know how to write a forestry or geology, a science paper with respect to it. So this will also be, you will be mentored whether it is written correctly or not. This will be hand-holding will be done in this part. After that test batch, you enter into it. Sectional test you will write in this particular part itself. Once the syllabus has been completed for the classroom program, once the syllabus is completed, you will write section A paper. Syllabus is completed, section B paper. Paper 1, section A, paper 2, section A, paper 1, section B, paper 2, section B. You will write this, right? And then before the full-length test is being started, we will again write a daily answer writing program. This is a proper daily answer writing program with the potential questions, whatever can be asked with respect to it. This is everyday syllabus will be given to each and every individual, and you follow the syllabus, you revise the syllabus, you write the questions, right? Here there will be like close to 50 marks, you will write the daily answer writing. So you do daily answer writing, you get enabled, you write the test batches, you follow the daily answer writing and the full-length test before the UPSC. This too will done in the month of November. This will be taking place along with the class in the month of September. This will run in the month of September, October, November. So you will have September, October, November. I think I gave you a very clear plan with respect to it. Fine? Is that fine, Vivek? Writing is the skill. Once you know how to write, one is conceptual clarity, another one is writing. Once you do have these two elements of forestry with respect to it, we will be able to put across. That is where the material in books comes. If you are preparing for only Indian Forest Service, or you prepare for Civil Service and Forest Service, just drop me a mail saying that what is you do with respect to it. And we will work together. And as I told, just because it's an online mode and it goes on to the things and add bad experiences of providing my mobile number. So I will provide the mobile number over email. Email enga kuduthirken. Inge email eludi potten ippen. And some of the simple questions that people always ask is whether forestry can be written in vernacular or mother tongue language. Civil Service has that option. Forestry does not have an option, so it will be only written in English. So we'll have the classes will be done purely in English medium. Right? KRTHI, Karthi, which stands for my name, FCNRA, Forest College and Research Institute, which stands for my alma mater. And I have written this part in capital only for one reason, which is for the legibility, right? You case insensitive, so you write it in small letter, you write in capital letter, the mail will automatically will receive. I wrote in capital for the easiness. So general English and general knowledge classes available? No. For the general knowledge, if you wanted to take, you will have to be taking the general studies classes of Vajiram and Ravi, which will fulfill your requirement. And if you have been preparing for the next year, Sonal, then preliminary is the major hurdle in Forest Service mains examinations. So one should have a very clear foundation of the general studies with respect to it. I'll just wait for one more minute. With that, we will end the session. If that 1 minute is also if someone is typing the questions. My English is weak, how to improve it? Okay. See, I'm a person who studied in government school, who studied in vernacular medium, who does not know anything about English till I started my UPSC preparations. Even today, if you ask me what is verb and what is noun, I might not be able to differentiate. I know the language, I write the language, I speak the language. I learned it in a very different approach. I'm telling you my approach, right? You can also take another approach. Every suggestion of mine in this preparation module, if it fits your rationale, follow it, right? But all these are tested, proven, and it will work. I started my preparation with respect to Hindu newspaper. If you have been a person who is following Indian Express, these both are good. And then Oxford Dictionary. So the earlier time period took a longer time period to understand, because this is something which helped me a lot over the period of time to write, speak, essays, ethics, or with respect to reading comprehension in preliminary and all those things. This is one. It will take some time period. Tomorrow, miracle will not happen with respect to it. Trust process, not worry about results. Be a better person than yesterday of yourself. That's all is required with respect to it. One. And with respect to the examination, as everyone knows, the better book is Renan Martin for the grammatical part, rules for letter writing, report writing, précis, and all those things. If you find this book is extremely tough for you, you can also take Raymond Murphy. This is another good book, slightly lesser tougher version or more approachable version, easier version to go on, right? And for the grammar part and all those things, last 5 years of grammar, if you take it, understand what has been asked, for that any workbook will be suffice. Even if any of your cousins or nephews have been studying in 10th or 12th standard and they have a workbook in the schools, it is better with respect to take the workbook, solve it. That's all has to be done, right? This is required for preparing the language. If someone who has been better in English, you don't have to worry about that particular part. Start with respect to the grammatical books with respect to it. One, then PYQ, essay, grammar, précis, report. Work for the last 5 to 10 years, more than sufficient, right? And the similar version comes with respect to it. You'll have to study idioms and phrases, simple to complex sentences, change the sentences, what is verb to adjective, all those has to be done with respect to it. This will be there. If you are a fresher, if you are a graduate, you wanted to start preparing for UPSC, newspaper is the fundamental. Anything else? Any doubts? We'll end the session. Thank you. ஒரு நிமிஷம் வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க, அப்புறம் கேட்சப் பண்ணிக்கலாம். Is that fine? We'll end the session. Thank you. Thank you very much.